because I've heard of different instances where there are Africans who have nursing degrees, from maybe Nigeria, and then they come here, or rather from any, African country, and then they come here, and then it's usually very, very difficult for them to move into the system as nurses. Of course, I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but then if you guys can speak to like the barriers, what is hindering all of this? Is it that our certificate and then our standard of education back home is not the same? Because I know for sure, Nigeria now, I know that they're hustling for our doctors. Like in places like Dallas and stuff, like they are more, I heard the stats, and then this was back in 2021, so it might not be accurate anymore, that there are more Nigerian doctors in Ghana than there are doctors in the whole of Ghana or something. Like, I don't know how, So I know that back in Africa, regardless of whatever it is they say, our education is, still, it is not bad as they put it to be.
It's not.
Yeah.
So
what are those barriers? Is it just politics, or is it what that makes that difference?
Are you talking about like what the challenges they face in settling in here as nurses or getting jobs as nurses?
Yeah.
Qualified people.
Exactly, those certifications and all.
The main thing is the certification, credential, because right now the standard of a Nigerian school, like if you study nursing in Nigeria, is like a 3-year program. And then when you come here, automatically, when they do the assessment, you're on a diploma level. It's just standard. Only if you go to a private school where their curriculum is more like US-based or UK-based, then it's on the same level.
Okay.
So that's one of the challenges they face, because they have to go down. And then just that, when they get here, they have to do like an assessment with a nursing body. That is crazy. It takes about sometimes 2 years. You're still waiting.
Are you serious?
As a qualified nurse.
Do you mean like
waiting for the assessment?
You're waiting for the assessment to be done. They have different stages. You just have to wait. There's no fast track.
Like, you're not even taking any exams, or
you can't do anything, because like they're assessing your credentials to their own standard, and then they can tell you, okay, this is where you are with us. So now you go to a bridging program, or you're going to be an RPN. A degree holder in Nigeria is an RPN here, technically. So that's
what's an RP?
sorry, a registered practical nurse.
Okay.
Which is here. It's a 2-year program. It's a diploma program, which is what we have.
Okay.
And then somebody who studies a degree in Nigeria is downgraded to an RPN here after the assessment is done. Yeah.
Are you serious?
And then that's not just it. That's one. Okay, you get it done. Now it's time to get a job. It's hard to get a job because the cultural differences, the no Canadian experience comes into play most of the time. And then you see them working as personal support workers.
I see that a lot.
Still trying, they're frustrated,
I
trying
see
to
that
get
a
in.
lot.
But then they say they need nurses, but I don't know why they make it so hard for the nurses to work. And these are nurses with years of experience, 15 years, 20, some of them. Yeah, so those things. And even for those who are able to get in a little bit, when they're asking them questions on the interview, the way they respond, our level of, I think it's a cultural thing. Back home, when you talk about nurses and the staff relationship, we allow the patient to do their own decision, they're part of their decision making. Back home, the family is the one doing it for the most part. I go to your dad to say, you have this illness, do you want a surgery or not? But we don't do that here. We go to the person and say, do you want it or not? So these are the things they look at. They look at our body language. They look at the way our no might be a yes, cultural differences, and then you won't get a job because they're interpreting you differently. So those key things.
Yeah, but aren't there any like bridging programs for, so it seems like I'm not sure there's too much difference. I really don't know much about the nursing field, but aren't there like any programs where, they can bridge that gap for people coming in as foreigners to adopt into the Canadian system?
They do have bridging programs so it depends. So they don't have a special program for trained nurses who are about to start work here. They don't have those kind of bridging programs to say, okay, this is the culture, this is how things are done. We do have that for newcomers to Canada, but not for like nurses per se. It's just a general.
Also, like the entry to practice doesn't apply to international nurses, like.
No, like saying what he's saying, like what I understood from what he's saying is like these little things that like people coming from Nigeria don't understand.
Okay.
The culture or the tone or things like that. There's I've not seen any special like training or programs for that. Apart from, because I did do that course when I came to Canada years ago.
But we had.
It's not nursing.
No,
it's just a general like when you come in, they give you a package saying, okay, if you want to go do like a, I forgot what it's called. It's like it's not called bridging, but it's like newcomers to Canada program.
Yeah.
So they talk to you about how to talk to people, tone of voice, those kind of things, how to interpret things, the language that you
So
use.
cultural difference is a key. Like
It's a key
Yeah,
challenge.
cultural difference is so much. Like even within nursing, funny enough, it doesn't matter where you come from, if you're African or not. But I would say mostly on the African basis, there's a special way to answer your questions. To even make an admission. So when we were going to get accepted into McMaster, we had to study a whole book on how to speak rich.
Yes, that's the word.
It's basically how to speak rich. So I don't know if you ever heard about the chestnut, war chestnut, whatever, IQ testing. So basically, it's a standardized test. They don't tell you that it is an IQ test you're taking, but it has everything to do with how you speak,
Yeah.
like how you speak,
Body language.
your income.
Oh, okay.
So it's your income, your family, how many people in your family been out of university. All of these, as a person here, it influences where you go, what admission you have. So this test is like $2,000
Oh wow.
to learn how to speak.
Wait,
She
like,
paid
do you guys
almost-
have to take that test compulsorily?
It's
or?
not
No,
compulsory.
they even
If
say
you
it's
want,
not.
if you want admission,
Yeah,
you
it's
are
like
looking
a-
around. So many people want to go through the nursing program, but they don't know how to get there. And my girl here is the researcher. If she tells you we're going through here, we're going through. So when we paid, like, just the admission was almost like what, $800 just to apply to the university. And she's like, there are odds. I need to find out odds. What's the odds of you and I entering at a place where a university takes over 5,000 applications and put only 2,000 or 900 students in, 900, we have to get in. So how do we get in? She went to work and came out and said, oh, there's the Casper book or the Casper test. We have
BMO.
to do the BMO. So let's do. So she's like online looking for all this stuff. And we see how to speak like a nurse, $900. Full package to be sure you pass the Casper, $2,000. And Lillian goes, seriously? And then there's the list. So she paid like $700, and then we found a book for $25. She bought the books, and we're like reading through this whole book on. And all we came across is if you're Black and African, in your Black and African mind, you're not going to be a nurse here.
No.
Because from the beginning of that book, it starts off with your family net income. How do you eat at the table? How do you sit at the table? How do you respond?
Hold on, are they assessing all of this?
Yes.
Like, they're assessing this thing.
They
don't
don't
say-
tell
they
you.
don't
They
tell
don't
you that,
tell
but,
you,
yeah.
but that's what they're assessing. Because guess what? We read that book. We went through. We didn't even go through the test that you pay for online.
Waste of money.
We just read the whole book, and Lillian was like, "Okay, we know how to speak at the table now. We're ready for this test." And guess what? She came second quartile.
Nice.
She came
Yeah.
second quartile. I came third quartile, and we passed on the first try.
Sitting. Yeah.
So this
That's
is some of the
impressive.
barriers that you face, and it's just there.
And most
Like,
people don't know
So
this.
yeah, so it's
A
just
lot
more
of
like
people-
a very information gap kind of thing,
Yeah.
where because it sounds like
yeah.
you know.
And
If we
when-
can make this thing readily available, like, oh, you
Yeah.
come in, to study one first system. These are the things you need to know.
They don't tell you.
Get
No, they
ready.
don't tell you.
Right.
It's
Tell you.
supposed to be your
then-
attitude. It's not something someone's supposed to
Yes.
tell
Exactly.
you. So if you were rich, you already know how to act.
How to move.
Yes.
So if you were from a wealthy family that's educated, you're civilized. If you're coming from the background where we're coming from, with a bunch of native people and we live by the ocean and talk whatever, however, you don't know how to speak to a camera. You're standing in front of the camera. What are you saying? If you're saying what you perceive,
Yeah.
but the bulk of those tests you don't perceive. There's a way. There's a standardized way. Say you saw someone crossing the road and you thought the person didn't know how to cross the road. It is none of your
none
business,
of your
to
business.
think that person cannot cross the road. Ethically, you watch that person try to cross that road. That's what you do. And if you wanted to find out if that person can cross the road, you go and talk to the person and say, may I help you to cross the road? If the person says no, you walk away. So those are the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
the-
no. So I get it. I get it,
Yeah.
right?
So
And
those-
I feel like it's not like it's a bad thing, but more or less like, can't create like a uniform address method, the way of addressing.
Thank you
certain
for
things.
saying that.
And I'm sure like it helps with handling high stress situation as nurses, like critical. I'm sure like other sessions that talks about okay, how do you when a person is like scared of
When the
certain
patient is
things, yeah,
like
patient is like
this or
this,
like
like how do
this,
you
yeah.
calm the person down, talk to the person in such a way that they feel, understanding. And like I really don't, I haven't read it, but I'm just because when I do go to the hospital as a nurse, like there's that general nice tone or
Yeah.
nice approach,
Communication.
right?
Yeah.
Way of communicating,
Therapeutic.
which obviously is a therapeutic, like which obviously is I feel like it's taught in or read through in some kind of way.
Thank you for saying taught. So that point is that it is supposed to be taught to you in school. But if you're expecting that from me on an admission, that takes away cultural
Yeah.
differences.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So then it still calls for that bridging.
Because you're still teaching
Bridging
me that for the
things.
next 4
Yeah, I see.
years I'm
Yeah,
in that program.
yeah, yeah.
You're
You
still
don't know
teaching
that.
me that.
At the point
I'm
of
not
admission,
supposed to
nobody's
know
going to
that at
know
that
that.
point.
Yeah.
So for
I
us,
see
it's
what you're saying.
easier a little bit because
Right.
we've been through the program and we have
Right.
an idea of ethics,
Right.
what to say or what not to say. But these people coming from away, they have no clue. So they're trying to get in and they have to do this test like 100 times over.
Yeah.
They're still not going to get in.
And they're going to spend the money.
They're going to keep spending the money. And it's most of those tests are like once a year. You do it once,
It
you
is
fail, you
once
can't
a
go
year,
again. You
yeah.
have to go wait till the next year. So you
the
keep
next
going
year,
year to year, year in, year out.
Oh my days. Oh my days. So, man, I understand, especially like when moving abroad and when trying to get into new fields abroad, whether it's engineering or whatever. Getting in, there's usually like barriers. There's usually like exams you
Yeah.
need to take. You need to bridge a lot of things. All of that happens.